Stay at the Minute with Sparkplug Athletic Department on X at Sparkplug Sports, and the official page of Sparkplug Football at Sparkplug FB.
It's week one of the high school football season here in the state of Indiana, and no better place to be tonight here in Pendleton as the Arabians of Pendleton Heights play host to the Lebanon Tigers to kick off another exciting season of IHSAA football. Good evening, everybody. Alongside Craig Cox, I am Kurt Darling. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight on NineStar TV and the brand new NineStar Now app. However you may be watching, it is a pleasure to have you here with us tonight. Craig, a good matchup to start this season here between these two teams. Only the third time all-time that they have faced each other. Yeah, it is, and obviously last year was the first time that it was a regular season, so the first time was actually in the playoffs. But I'll tell you, Kurt, there's something always different about opening week of any given sport. But when it comes in the fall and it's the way of football, school's just underway, and I got to tell you, the popcorn smells a little different on opening night. So we're excited to get this on. Great 4A matchup. Two-story programs that have done a really good job, and certainly got an interesting piece with Smock at Lebanon. It's his 7th year, and he's coming in as an alumnus coaching his team, so that's always something special too. Then on the other side, you have Jed Richmond. Of course, we will dive into the coaches a little bit more later on in the broadcast as we get set for the coin toss here today. The Lebanon Tigers coming into this contest, of course, with a 0-0 record, this being week one, but they had a 6-4 record just a season ago, the first time under head coach Jeff Smock, Craig, that they have had back-to-back winning seasons. Yeah, it is. I mean, and it's one that obviously he's looking to build off that. I mean, he's got a good core returning back. There's always one that you're after, and that's the quarterback slot. Obviously, a new guy coming in here. Had a little bit of work last year in Zaxton Folden, but he was backing, a great quarterback that is now graduated, but it's next guy up. It's new year, and I'm sure they're looking for great things from him in the pocket. A new year for Pendleton Heights as well under head coach Jed Richmond. You see there Isaac Wilson going to be getting the start tonight at quarterback. He was the starter a season ago, but in this particular matchup a season ago he actually got hurt about a quarter and a half through, so you had to bring up Colton Frank to finish out the game. Definitely hoping to get a full game out of Isaac Wilson here today. Absolutely, and I think, it's always new when you're coming in. Attrition happens. You're going to get some, you're going to lose some, and I think it's one of those situations where there's new faces and sometimes even new places. Sometimes there's some shifting of the guard in some areas as well. Quarterback one is certainly a marquee piece and the leadership piece of that. He had some snaps last year, and I'm sure they're looking for some good things for him to take care of. I mean, the thing is that he's got guys on the edge with the wide receivers that they have to make plays for him. And then also on the edge as well, some new faces and some shifting as well in the O-line for Pendleton Heights as well. Luke Graham, a 6'3", 275-pound sophomore. He's going to be getting the start along with Gabe Martin on the right tackle spot, the 6'5" junior. Well, and you talk about Gabe Martin. What a body transformation that this young man has had, putting on 65, 70 pounds in the offseason. It's like, as great as that is from in the trenches and looking at that, but you also have to have concern is how well does the body obviously adapt to that with that type of transformation. But the young man's done a great job, so a tribute to him, the staff here, and it's time to get it on, man. I mean, I love any night of Friday Night Lights, but opening night is certainly something special. The Pendleton Heights Arabians come in to this contest with an overall program record of 307 wins and 249 losses. This is now the 54th season of Pendleton Heights football here today. But of course, Lebanon, on the other hand, they can trace their lineage of high school football all the way back to 1893. So they are one of the oldest high school football programs in the state, and they are getting ready for another season of Tiger football here tonight. Craig, it's week one of high school football. Let's get with it. No, absolutely. It's great to be in the booth with you here, Kurt. So getting set to go here as the Pendleton Heights Arabians will start things off on offense. Here's the kick, and the 2023 season of IHSAA football is underway. Here's Clint Myler on the reception here. He will get it back past the 30-yard line, and that will set things up here for the Arabians at their own 33-yard line. And again, we get our first look at quarterback Isaac Wilson. Coming out here again, getting the start tonight at quarterback. He was 84 of 144 for 864 yards and 6 touchdowns through the air last season, but he also has a stellar ground game, making him a pretty big dual threat quarterback.
Well, and he's got two guys up front, and Gabe Martin and Luke Graham, both 260 plus. They're trying to create holes and some pass protection here for this Arabian offense.
So first down and 10 for the Arabians. Two receivers on the near side. Man in motion here for the Arabians. High snap going to be given off to the running back immediately. That is Bo Surface, and he gets maybe a couple yards on the play out past the 35.
There's things obviously right out the gate, trying to establish some ground game. Both these teams will run the same offense and defense, both on offense being a spread and running 4-3 on D. So you'll see familiar looks on your screen here tonight in your living room, and certainly one that the Arabians here are getting good positive yards here on first down.
And again, you're going to be seeing a handful of players in the backfield here for the Arabians. They have a running back by committee set up here as quoted by head coach Jed Richmond, so you're going to be seeing maybe 5 or 6 different players running the football tonight. High snap again, and this time Wilson on the keeper. He has a lot of running room out past a first down and a lot more across midfield and gets down inside the 40-yard line.
Well, it's nothing like, you talked about running backs by committee. I mean, you can't leave out the quarterback, right? There's even a 5th or 6th one. So those are types of situations with, certainly Coach Richmond, being in a position where he can keep fresh legs. And a lot of times that's going to wear your defense down, not only throughout the first half, but certainly when it's most important late in the 3rd and 4th.
It's about a 27-yard scamper there by Wilson, gives another big first down here for the Arabians, and now we see Colton Frank lining up in the shotgun here for the Arabians. So maybe a quarterback by committee thing here, but a high snap, and that is going to negate the big run there by Wilson. In fact, it is going to be a fumble, and it is going to be recovered by the Tigers.
Yeah, obviously just a miscue on the center's part, just a really high snap. One that your quarterback couldn't obviously get to. It's just too high there for Colton Frank to get. They even also brought in Dresden Roberts in the backfield as well, so another running back to see. But with the miscue on the snap, certainly turns the ball over, and certainly got to limit those. Great job there by Lebanon running to the ball and having it already in Arabian territory.
Take Wilson on the fumble recovery for the Tigers. He had 15 tackles a season ago as a sophomore linebacker. So we get our first look at the Lebanon Tigers in plus territory on offense here. Jackson Folden, the starting quarterback for the Tigers. Again, he had to play second fiddle to Landon Fouts a season ago. He had 1,300 yards through the air, did Fouts. Here's Folden, pumping to the outside, and he has his man along the sideline. That's out of bounds, and the reception going to Trey Reese, the 6'2 senior.
Well, and these are two guys on the edge that he has to throw to. I'll tell you, down on the field before the game and seeing Reese as well as corners being there to be able to throw to. He's got 2 great ones in Reese and Lark, great athletic players that can really create space and make athletic plays against this defensive backfield.
So a 2-yard gain on the throw, and this time they keep it on the ground again to their running back. And that is Brendan Shockley. And he will lose a yard on the play.
Number 9, Brendan Shockley on the carry. Tackle for no gain by number 48.
So officially a loss of a yard there by Shockley. He had 77 carries for just over 300 yards on the ground and 2 touchdowns a season ago.
Well, and these are situations here where even if they don't get the first down, you probably look for them to go for it on 4th, being already in good field position. Probably much too long to be a field goal, and one that a punt probably doesn't give you that much advantage. So see if they can try to either get this or gain 5.
Pistol again, Fulton back to throw. Fires over the middle, and it's intercepted. That's
That might be
Myler.
6.
He's going to go all the way back across midfield, sheds the tackler, gets back to the 50-yard line. Back-to-back turnovers by each team here in the early going, and the Arabians are right back in business.
Well, you know, tit for tat right here. I mean, we're getting up one with a miscue fumble and then an interception. Certainly got a good job there by Fulton. Not only throwing the interception, but not giving up on the play and being in a position where he just saved, you know, a touchdown here. But great job by the Arabian safety there.
Clint Myler getting his first interception on the year. He had 2 a season ago, along with 50 tackles.
Well, as a coaching staff, you hate to give up the ball, but you certainly like getting one back. Taken over here at midfield.
So the ball right at midfield here as the Arabians have to get their house in order on offense, and it's going to be Colton Frank coming back in here at quarterback. Colton Frank passed for 3 touchdowns but had 2 interceptions in 2022. From the gun, nice little push ahead this time to Nate DeRoff, and he tries to turn the corner to get 5, but we have a flag on the play.
Yeah, and I think here, I'm not certain, but I think they might be calling a horse collar here, but not certain it was. He really had him on the sleeve, but we'll see. But I think how he came down might have appeared to be a horse collar.
So we'll await the referee, and it looks like it appears it may be a hold.
Yeah, which...
And indeed, that is the call. So that's going to be a 10-yard penalty on the Arabians and negate the 5-yard gain.
The nice thing that you've seen with Richmond is really mixing things up. You know, you got quarterback keepers. You're in a position where he's booting him out. You got putting guys in motion. Really showing a lot of diverse sets here in their formations at this point.
So that's going to be from the spot of the foul, so it's only going to be 1st and 15. Wilson back at quarterback on the keeper. He gets it, fumbles the ball again. That is 2 fumbles now by the Arabians and another fumble recovery by the Tigers. This time it looks like it is Jaden Rainey on the fumble recovery there for the Tigers.
It's been takeaway city to this point, you know, running the RPO at that point. You know, again, Coach Richmond's mixing it up a lot with not only his formation, but also with his substitution of players at this point. I'm sure they'll get these kinks worked out, but great job of the Tigers, obviously running the ball, putting their hats on it, and just having active hands.
So back and forth we go here. We've only just run off about 3 minutes on the clock here in this first quarter, as Lebanon will keep it on the ground for no gain.
Looked like that was Mason Crew, I think if it was 25.
And you are correct there, my friend, as Mason Crew, one of the rare two-way players here at this 4A level here for Lebanon. He is also an outside linebacker on defense.
Number 34, Nick Trout. 2nd down and 9.
So Nick Trout there on the tackle for Pendleton Heights. Blitz coming up here now for Pendleton Heights, and now they back off. Here's the snap, Fulton outside, and Myler misses the tackle, and that is going to go out this time to Caden Lark, who gains a few yards through the air.
Well, good job by Myler jumping, but that's what you get, obviously, in Caden Lark, being able to make guys miss. As we'll see here on the replay. I mean, it's just in a position where he's making guys miss, getting positive yards. These are 2 really, as we mentioned before, very athletic guys at the receiver positions.
Big 3rd down here, though, for the Arabians as the clock continues to roll.
So we couldn't ask for any better weather on opening night, Kurt.
You said it, partner.
Lovely.
Sunny in the low 70s to upper 60s here in Pendleton. Fulton back to pass again. Blitz coming over the middle. Misses his man. Again looking for Crew. And it's going to be a 4th down in the first punting situation of the night for either team.
I think it's one there that Jackson really kind of rushed. He had a little bit of pressure, but still had a little bit of time to where his receiver and Crew just ran the route. They're going for it here.
Looks like they're going to go for it here. It is 4th down and 6. And Fulton going to pooch punt it away. And that is going to bounce into the end zone for a touchback. So that'll bring things back out to the 25-yard line here for Pendleton Heights. Well, Craig, you know, you have these turnovers here in the early going by both teams, just maybe some week one jitters, would you say?
No, I think that's a lot of it. I mean, you know, these guys have been after it for months now on end. You know, you talk about summer and you talk about their limited two-a-days that they have. And, you know, these guys have been going head-to-head against each other. And sometimes getting live looks at somebody else that you haven't seen every day can be a little bit different. And then I think adding to what you indicated, first week pieces, you know, your adrenaline is at all ends high. And a lot of it's just kind of settling down, settling into the game. Bad thing is they both turn it over. The good thing is the other team has as well. So, I mean, they've kind of washed each other out.
So Colton Frank and Isaac Wilson sharing the reps at quarterback. Frank in the backfield at the moment. He's looking to pass, rolls out, and just throws it in to the sideline of Lebanon, and that'll bring up second down. And you mentioned it, how they've been, you know, going at it after each other in the offseason. But, of course, Pendleton Heights, they scrimmaged against Mooresville last week, which Coach Jed Richmond said was actually something that really exposed a lot of problems that they didn't know that they had coming into week one.
No, and I'll tell you, Kurt, that's the thing that you want a scrimmage to do. It's not about coming in and you want to execute, but it also just gives the coaching staff some good added pieces for their prep week going into one. So that's really a great purpose for that.
Back in the gun again. This time it's Wilson. He's going to go on the keeper, and he cannot avoid the pass rush of the Tigers. Jake Windhorse as well as Arson Mapanda in on the tackle as well, and that will be no gain on the play.
I'm telling you, if you're a player on Jed Richmond's team, you better be ready on the sidelines because he's running them in and out. You know, like it's not only the players that he's running in with both these quarterbacks, they're guys that can make some things happen with their feet outside of the pocket. So really look forward to that throughout the evening. And you even have that even on the other side in Jackson Folden making some things happen outside the pocket.
Wilson alone in the backfield. He's going to go back to pass. Fires to the left side. And nobody home that time. Looked like he may have been looking for Nate DeRolf on the play. And we will see Wes Kupfer come out here for a punting situation for the Pendleton Heights Arabians for the first time today.
Well, and this is one you got Caden Lark deep back. This is a young man that's not only the receiver, he's also a cornerback. He's also the punter at times, and then he's also the punt returner. And so, you know, he's a guy that's really a big utility, and you just use him in every way fit when you got an athlete such as Caden.
Lark, the jack of all trades here, as it'll be a end-over-end line drive bouncing punt. And certainly didn't look pretty, but when all is said and done, they flip the field a little bit as they get it inside the 40-yard line, which is where the Tigers will be setting up shop for their next drive.
Well, and I think, too, that was a lot of that was by design to kick away from him.
So as we flip the field again here, Jeff Smock, the head coach of the Lebanon Tigers, in his 7th season. He's 34-27, and you mentioned, Craig, earlier, an alum coaching at his alma mater here for the Tigers.
Yeah, that's always something special. I mean, not only for the young man and himself doing that, but for the community. It's names that the community recognizing as one of their own, and how special is that to go back where you once played, and so the blood is thick through that, and know it really, really well.
So about midway through this opening quarter here in Lebanon, already having a hard time getting the correct personnel here. With 3 seconds left on the play clock, they got to get it off. And here is Shockley this time on the handoff, and he is ahead for no gain.
Well, the other thing, too, that Kurt, is you know, both defenses have continued to do what they're supposed to do. Get turnovers, force the other team to punt. It's who's going to find each other first offensively.
You see Eli Libler, the 5'9" senior defensive end on the tackle there for Pendleton Heights. This is a Pendleton Heights defense that gave up about 22 points per contest a season ago. They had 48 tackles for loss, so they know how to get in the backfield.
Well, and these are two teams, too, that can show you the big play. I mean, obviously we had that in Isaac Wilson early on with the 40-some-plus yard run. You have the athleticism with Lebanon.
Handoff again, at this time a big hole for Shockley. He gets a first down, sheds a tackler, keeps going across the 40 down to the 37-yard line.
He's kind of running like Jeremy Shockey, right?
That is a name I have not heard
I
in
hadn't
a
heard in
long
a
time.
while. We remember him. But no, great run there by Bo. I mean, great job. And that's what you want when we talk about the Yaks as we see it here. You know, he's actually getting almost 10 yards, maybe 8. Yeah, actually plus that, about 12 or 13 after the initial point of contact. Great job of running through the hit.
This is about a 25-yard gain right there by Shockley. Gives Lebanon another first down in plus territory now. Snap again. Toss outside to Shockley, and he is met in the backfield and still tries to recoup a little bit, but it's going to be a loss of a couple yards on the play.
Yeah, it could have been 4 or 5. Great pursuit there, not only on the edge, but also from the middle linebacker, doing a great read on this and really getting through the A-gap. And then it's just a slew of Arabians coming to the rescue. So good job there as we're setting up 2nd and 12 here.
And you have Eli Libler, Garrett Peterson, Bryant Davis, the front 3 on that Pendleton Heights defensive line, and then their all-star their all-star linebacker and the tandem, really, Nick Trout and Dresden Roberts. Between them, over 200 tackles last year. Handoff again, this time to Shockley. He punches his way up through the gut and gets back to the 35, a gain of 5.
Yeah, and you mentioned Trout and Roberts. I mean, we've already seen both of them in the backfield. So, you know, we not only talked about just moments ago about if you're a player on Richmond's, you know, sideline, you got to be ready to go in as much as he's uncertain, but you also got to be conditioned, Kurt. I mean, these are guys that playing on both sides of the ball, which can really be, you know, very fatiguing. Maybe not so much in the first half, but definitely in the second.
Again, Nick Trout, 130 tackles by himself last year on defense. That was a new single-season school record for Pendleton Heights. Snap again, flag on the play, and it's going to be a false start, it appears, here on Lebanon.
Yeah, I think they showed a little bit of blitz there and showed a little bit of their hand and got the O-line there in the trenches in a little angst and jumping.
So that one just barely beating it out here as we take a look. Just a slight flinch there on the end by Colin Fouts.
Yeah, all it takes.
So that will now negate the 5-yard gain from Shockley on the previous play. And it'll now be 3rd down and 12. And you mentioned how fatiguing it can be to play both ways here, Craig. Believe it or not, a lot of these Pendleton Heights players might be well conditioned because comparing my notes, getting ready for this particular game, a lot of the players actually lost weight from a season ago. I talked with Coach Jed Richmond about that. He said, yeah, we're lighter, but we're longer.
Yeah, and then on top of that, you know, he had almost half his squad that played rugby in the spring. So, I mean, from that standpoint, it's probably conditioning you in a different way as well. So kudos to him. And then, you know, they're from a standpoint of input and participation, you know, it's one of the largest that they've had in school history, I think, with over 100, 105 players that they have with JV and varsity. So a tribute to him. And not only that, but what that takes is not only your leadership, but it also takes the buy-in from your feeder system to be able to grow that and have that excitement at the feeder system as you do at the high school. And that becomes family where these kids are truly looking to play here in 3 and 4 and 5 years for Coach Richmond here.
And there is Coach Jed Richmond again in his 8th season as the head coach here at Pendleton. He had the task of kind of rebuilding a few things. Of course, taking over after longtime head coach John Broughton, who is the namesake of this field.
And, you know, Coach Richmond, you know, he's had great experience. I mean, even before here, he was at Webo for a little while. He was a few years, if I'm not mistaken, at LC. So he's seen it at different levels. He talked about that last year about playing Lebanon because they're such a I got another miscue, but I got a penalty.
Believe it or not, that is a good penalty right there for the Tigers because that was a high snap that could have been really bad, but instead they're going to get a false start right before the snap on Lebanon. So that is back-to-back false starts, and what would have been probably either a turnover or 4th down and a mile is now 4th down and maybe a half mile here for Lebanon.
Yeah, Coach Richmond was talking about last year when they lost to Lebanon, how much that hurt in the community, made him know about it, because after coaching at Webo and that being such a strong rivalry in Boone County with Lebanon and Webo, people let him obviously hear about that. But they're back again this year trying to get revenge, as this series is at 1-1. So tonight's kind of the rubber match for speed.
Of course, last year's final score, 26-12 in favor of Lebanon. Pendleton Heights had to deal with a few early season injuries in that particular matchup. Low snap this time, Folden fires hard downfield, looks up, and it is caught by his receiver. A big first down conversion on the reception. Who else but Caden Lark?
Well, this is a young man, again, that comes in from last year, having almost 600 yards receiving and 7 touchdowns. But we've said it twice, Kurt, already here, is you throw the ball up to these guys and let them go get it. He high points the ball. He goes up and makes the play where maybe a lot of corners just can't make on somebody as athletic as he is. So great job here, and now we got the first of the two teams in a position to put points on the board.
Around a 30-yard pass and catch and a big first down for Lebanon, and they are threatening in the red zone for the first time tonight. Here's Shockley. He meanders his way up forward for a gain of 5 down to the 10. And that was certainly kind of a long exchange of penalties going back and forth and timeouts and everything in between right there for Lebanon. And needless to say, that didn't really hurt their rhythm all that much.
No, and big players make big plays at the right time. And I mean, you're at 3rd and 17, and you're almost at midfield. And again, you just you put it up there and let him go get it. And it's what it's done, and here they got about 2nd and 6.
Just out of the reach there of Wes Cup for the free safety for Pendleton.
2.5 minutes to go before the close of the quarter.
2nd down and 6. Here's Shockley trying to go to the left edge, and he gets across the 10 down to about the 7. So gain of 4 on the play.
Tries to make it 3rd and short. This is one, too, where you got with, obviously, with what you have with Lebanon. They're no slouch, too, here with having a couple at one at 265, and then obviously your center, All-State Eli Bridges at 310. So these are some guys that can really make some things happen, especially in that A gap off your guards, and got him spread here.
8th play of the drive. Fake handoff again. This time it's a delayed one down to Shockley, and he goes nowhere. He is pinned to the ground there by Nick Trout.
Yeah, that's what you have right there, middle linebacker jumping in. A great read, great penetration, setting them up here. You know, it's kind of interesting, you know, when you're in this position and both teams have struggled offensively and had turnovers, how it's a little interesting they're not, you know, taking the points and looking at just getting on the board here. But got Coach Smock going for it here, and see what will come out at 4th and 6.
And Lebanon, not a traditionally kicking team. In fact, they did not attempt a field goal at all last season. So they'll be going for it here on 4th down and 6. Have to get to the 5-yard line for a first down. They're 1 for 1 on 4th down so far, and it's intercepted. Another pickoff there by the Arabians, and that is Nolan Souders. Picking up right where he left off from last season. He led the team in interceptions a season ago, and he gets another one here.
Oh, actually, they're going to call it incomplete, which plays to their favor at that. You know, you gain about 14 yards. Great job, though, by the Arabian defense to hold them after that long play there by Lark. And one that probably the defense will take a little personal. It's like you're going for 4th and 6 and kicking. But, yeah, actually made it, but then just the ground caused him to lose control.
Either way, it is a turnover on downs, and we are still scoreless here almost through the first quarter. Here's Wilson. Starts to the right, has to cut back left, and when all is said and done, he only maybe gains about 1.5 yards.
Well, and you know, Isaac's a real shifty guy, as he's shown us already here in the first quarter, but I'm sure as a coaching staff, you probably want him to make one move and try to get north and get upfield. You start getting shifty too much, and you're susceptible to a lot more blindside hit. But he's, Coach, you know, has already shown that he's ready to run in other quarterbacks at different times, as we've already also seen Colton Frank.
Wilson, quick throw out to Sims this time. That gets a first down out to the 25 to the 26-yard line.
Tell you, there's always something different for whatever reason it might be in seeing a lefty throw the ball. You know, always just comes off differently. Same way with in basketball and seeing the shooter shoot left. And you got that obviously here with Isaac Wilson.
Caden Sims, one of the elder statesmen here on this Pendleton Heights roster. He's a 3-year starter. Last season caught 14 passes for 257 yards.
Well, and Coach Richmond also said, you know, obviously he plays basketball as well as a great contributor there, and he describes him as being very, very scrappy, you know, that just possesses a lot of moxie.
Back in a moment, second quarter coming at you next here on NineStar TV.
Some people see a huddle in the locker room. We see a second classroom. Some see a student athlete on the court. We see a future leader in the community. You see, high school sports in Indiana are special. That's because they're about learning and growing, not just winning and losing. Fans, I'm Commissioner Paul Neidig. Support education-based athletics in Indiana by buying a ticket to your high school's next athletic event.
Back here at John Broughton Field here on NineStar TV and the NineStar Now app. Alongside Craig Cox, I'm Kurt Darling. Goose Eggs still on the scoreboard here on NineStar TV as Pendleton Heights and Lebanon kicking things off here in week 1 of IHSAA football. Craig, back and forth we went there on that first quarter, and no scores, just a lot of turnovers.
No, it was. I think, you know, this was the thing. I mean, we talked about both defenses showed each other what they were supposed to, and then from the offensive side, both offenses, you know, didn't do that because it's probably not what you scripted, but at the same time, it kind of made it a wash because the other teams kind of did that. Both of them have had big plays. You had the long run by Wilson there in the first quarter. You've had a couple nice passes. You had the couple long runs and pass there to Lark earlier. So I think a lot of it's who's going to find their rhythm offensively first.
Jeff Smock, again, a look at him. 7th season as the head coach of the Lebanon Tigers. High snap taken here by Wilson to start off the second quarter, and he's able to get up the right side for a solid gain of about 6 or 7 yards.
You'll take that on first down every single possession. You're getting 6, 7 yards. Very, very nice positive yards and manageable with 2 downs to move these chains.
So again, Lebanon and Pendleton Heights, only the 3rd time they've ever faced each other, the 2nd time in the regular season. The first time they ever played each other was back on October 20th of 2017 in the sectional opener, which was a 30-22 win for Pendleton. Snap again, fake handoff from Wilson, and he has his man. A nice grab there by the tight end, Caleb Day, and it is good for a no. It's actually going to be incomplete. He dropped it going out of bounds.
Well, you talked about the sectional matchup too that these two played back in 2017. I mean, you know, we talked before the game and the landscape of how, you know, for Lebanon, you look at how the breakup of the Sagamore Conference, and I believe that there's only 3 teams, if I'm not mistaken, left in that with the departure of 3. But then the sectional that you have with Lebanon, I mean, talk about that, Kurt. I mean, some of the matchups they have there could be incredible.
Yeah, that's right. And, the Sagamore Conference stays intact for this season. I think next season is when things will be shaken up. But, no, yeah, sectional 21 as Pendleton Heights, again, getting absolutely hammered in the backfield there is Isaac Wilson. That'll be a loss on the play. But Lebanon, they have to go up against teams in their sectional like Brebeuf, Roncalli, and Mooresville. All of those teams either in or out of the rankings. That is a tough, tough sectional. And then you, of course, include Crispus Attucks, Indianapolis Shortridge, and Washington and Northview as well. So Lebanon, again, that's might be a big reason why they haven't won a sectional championship since 1997.
Tough to get out.
Punting situation here for Pendleton. And again, another bouncing ball going to go right into the hands here of Lark. He's going to try and field it this time. Instead, he gets backed up. Great special teams play here by the Arabians. And that is where Lebanon will have to start a long drive here this time at their own 16-yard line.
Yeah, and that time they kind of, in a sense, kind of kicked away from Lark there again. He came up to get it, took it off the bounce. They're really kicking away from him at this point. Took a chance in taking this, but at the point I know you're trying to make something happen, but running east and west a lot of times typically is going to result in not so positive things. But we'll take back over nonetheless. They kept points off the board as both these defenses continue to do. But I think it's been as much of their own offenses as it's been the defenses, with some of the missed opportunities of conversions as well as these turnovers.
So Lebanon going to try and break the stalemate here. They have 84 yards to try and do it. Here's Shockley on the handoff. Runs right into his own left tackle there in Fouts, and he gets backed up by 3. So Eli Arthur on the tackle there, another senior linebacker here for Pendleton Heights, had 60 tackles a year ago.
Well, both these fronts, defensive fronts on these teams are getting great penetration. Now, that could be one attribute to the D lines of both teams, but it also can be some breakdown of your own lines as well. But either way, both defensive fronts are getting some great penetration.
Second down and long here for Lebanon. Fouts again on the delayed handoff, and we have a flag on the play, and they blow the play dead. So far, all the flags in this contest have been committed against Lebanon. That is now their 4th penalty of the night, and it's going to be another one here against the Tigers. Just a slight false start there again by Colin Fouts, the junior left tackle.
Just a few little score updates. You know, you got Cathedral. If I'm not mistaken, Kurt, isn't that at Lucas Oil?
It is. It is the Horseshoe Classic to kick things off at Lucas Oil Stadium.
Against the Broncos of Lafayette Jeff, and Cathedral's back at it again, 55-14 in the 4th. But Peru over Logansport. We'll give you some other updates as it goes on. But a lot of football opening up here in the state of Indiana on tonight.
Delayed handoff, this time up the gut. This time it goes to Tague Williamson, who's the backup running back for Brendan Shockley, and he gets it back to the original line of scrimmage and then some, about a gain of 10 yards.
Yeah, Westfield over New Powell, 17-0. Ben Davis, I know they're over in Cincinnati, if I'm not mistaken. They're down 14-7. Other area scores, we'll get them to you as we get updated here. Ron Colley over Southport in the second quarter, 23-6.
Certainly an interesting score right there between Westfield and New Powell.
Yeah.
17-0 with the Shamrocks on top. That was a lopsided game the other direction to start the season last year. 3rd down and 6 here for Lebanon. Rolling out now is Fouts. Fires back across the middle and just outthrows his man Mason Crew, and it'll bring up another 4th down. Right idea there, though, for the Tigers. We have a flag on the play, though, in the backfield, and it's going to be against Lebanon. And Pendleton's going to decline this. As we take a look at the replay here, they're going to get Lebanon for a hold, and couldn't quite get anything by that camera angle there, but either way, it's going to bring up a 4th down and another punting situation. And Caden Lark back to put his boot into it again. And this time we take a look at it again. Looks like it may have been Ty Reagan there, just getting a little bit of a handle on the collar there of Bryant Davis.
Timeout here by the Arabians.
And timeout taken by Coach Jed Richmond here as they try to talk things over here, getting set for this particular series now. Good turnout here by the Lebanon Tigers. Looks like it's jersey night here for the student section here of the Tigers. Meanwhile, on the home side of things, it is standing room only, as you can see here. It is always a great turnout here at Pendleton and Pendleton Heights. This crowd really getting into it. Aloha night.
Yeah, and I just love not only the thematics, but, you know, just that picture right there. I mean, the school spirit, the pride, love that, the community. And then, Kurt, shoot, you look in the north end zone, and, you know, a lot of times it's not only about the game that's on the field. It's about the pickup football behind the stands.
There's always a game going on somewhere.
Yeah, in the north end zone here, they got extra turf, and they let the kids go at it there. So I love that. Just a great community piece. So a great job by this community, by the administration here at Pendleton Heights and the athletic department as well.
So after the timeout, both teams with 2 remaining here in the half. And Lark going to rugby style it, going to go right into the hands of Myler. Great field position to start here for the Arabians, and Myler's going to give them even more as he gets tackled out of bounds across the 40.
Yeah, starting out great field position here. You know, looking for one of these teams to really pop, you know, something offensively, putting in a position where they can try to put some points on the board, either team, before half and take something in terms of to create some momentum for the second half.
So Clint Miller there with another good run back there. He also has an interception on the night. So the ball going to be placed at the 38 with 8:05 left to go here in the second quarter.
I hope we can see Wilson. I like the opportunities for him to make plays outside the pocket. You know, he's a guy that can hurt you with his feet, but get him out of the pocket, allow him to read a little differently.
Handoff this time to Keaton Jones, his first carry of the evening. And he's going to plow forward for a gain of about 2. So that's now the 4th different ball carrier that we have had here tonight for Pendleton Heights, as you would expect, again, with this running back by committee setup they have. He gets back to just shy of the 35-yard line.
Well, that's a tough thing for your opponent to prepare for, right? I mean, in terms of running back by committee, it's very, very common on all levels. But to come in and try to prepare for 5 and then a quarterback that can run 2.
Speaking of, here's Wilson faking out the defender, gets a little bit more, and he is going to be tackled by the collar there down at about the 29-yard line. No penalty on the play, and that'll be just shy of the first down marker, 3rd down and 1. That was a tough tackle right there by the Lebanon defense.
Well, it's 1-2. I mean, you know, you got Wilson that's coming in where he's 160, 165 pounds, and then you got Reese here at 185, really athletic. But great job in closing that. But again, I love getting Wilson outside the pocket. I mean, it just gives him more time to read, goes through his progressions, and if not, make some things happen with his feet.
Dresden Roberts, he plows ahead, and he'll get the first down.
You think about just moving the chains and thinking about ball control is paramount, and certainly can wear some things down, especially, as you mentioned, Kurt, on a couple occasions with all the fresh legs that they can throw at you. That wears a defensive down, and so when you can control the ball that way, it just really helps.
Bo Surface back in the backfield now with Isaac Wilson here for Pendleton. High snap, Wilson looking to the left side into the end zone, trying to find Sims, and it's going to be just short, incomplete. The Pendleton Heights flags want a flag, and they're not going to get it. We might get a look at the replay on that if we can. That was certainly touch and go right there as we take a look at this one. And again, the throw was short. What would you say about that one, my friend?
Well, I think he evaded the process of him being able to make a play on the ball. So obviously there's tough vantage points, you know, that officials have in trying to make these calls. You're only gonna make the right call for one side, but it is a tough one, and certainly one that looked like the corner did not allow him to make a play on the ball. Here we get another look at it.
Timeout going to be called on the field here, and looked like the corner may have been trying to make a play on the ball right there, but that was Franklin Lightfoot on the coverage for Lebanon. But still, the throw was just a little short. And so that'll bring up 2nd down and 10 here for Pendleton Heights. Again, a wobbly throw. Caden Sims trying to come back and get the ball. But there was Lightfoot right there in the middle of it. So there's Jed Richmond again, talking up his offense here as we have about 6 minutes, 19 seconds left to go here in the first half, and we have yet to get any scoring from either team here. Certainly not the same start as we had a season ago when Lebanon was able to beat Pendleton Heights 26-12 to start things off. And in fact, Craig, that was the first time that Lebanon had won a season-opening game in 5 straight seasons a season ago against Pendleton.
I didn't know that one.
So it was good for Lebanon to kind of get off on a good note for a season that would eventually end up with them having a 6-4 overall record. And they ended up actually finishing second officially in the Sagamore Conference after Tri-West and Western Boone.
And just one
tied
game
for
back.
the title.
Yeah, just one game out.
In the gun again, here is Wilson. He gives it to Surface. He cuts up the middle. He's going to be close to a first down inside the 20. Looks like a solid gain of about 9 yards there for Surface.
That's a big running back, too. I mean, he's 6'1", 180. Not a lot of weight, but a lot of height. You know, you'll see a lot of your running backs 5'10", 5'11", but got good length.
Third down and short again here for Pendleton.
And don't look now, but now Dresden Roberts is in there along with him.
High snap, though. Someone's going to have to fall on top of it. No, they can't get it again, and it's another turnover and another fumble. That is Pendleton's third fumble of the afternoon, and that stalls what looked like an incredibly promising drive for the Arabians.
Well, and two of the three have been in the same fashion here, Kurt. I mean, it's high snaps, and the other thing is actually going at the fumble recovery. You know, Pendleton Heights could have had all three of those, really. I mean, there's guys are there to actually have the recovery, but they're not wrapping it up, and they've lost them in the same fashion in not recovering the ball where Lebanon's picking up. So
Logan Bolander on the fumble recovery, and that is now the fourth turnover by either team here tonight. Here's Folden. He gives it off to his running back, Shockley, and he goes nowhere, right back to the original line of scrimmage.
I think it might be whoever gets a fumble recovery for a touchdown.
It just might come to that.
It might come to that. They'll work these out, though. Again, first game, getting out of that. Just had some snap issues going on, but I think at the end of the day, too, it's just about making sure you get on that ball.
Nearly a forced fumble right there by Eli Libler, as you saw on that replay. Getting his hands on the ball there was Shockley, but Shockley with good hands keeping the ball tight to his chest. 5 minutes to go here in quarter number 2. Folden again off to Shockley, being patient, cuts to the outside, down the sideline, gets the first down and a little bit more as he gets across midfield.
No, great job by Shockley there. A little jump cut, really made his guy miss. Was jumping up in the gap, as we'll see it here. Just makes a really, really nice jump cut right there. And hits to the outside. Really, really nice run.
Good blocking there as well by Trey Reese to get that little bit extra there for Lebanon.
Well, and that's the intangibles that you have. When it's not coming your way, as a receiver, what are you doing to hold your block, for the sake of the team?
First down and plus territory here for the Tigers. Folden, pass outside to his receiver, Lark, gets some blocking, gets a first down the sideline, has one man to beat, and he gets touched out of bounds, and another big pass and catch there to Caden Lark, and they get close to the red zone.
Well, and that's the things that you're looking to do, is get the ball to your athletes, get them in space, and to make things happen. That's what you got here. Really good little speed out here, and just hit him to the outside and let him turn the burners on.
About 28 yards on the run there by Caden Lark, and they're going to put him at the 24-yard line officially.
Now, both these teams have had opportunities inside the 30, not quite the red zone, but to do some things with it and just been ball security. Obviously, Lebanon came inside the 10 or 12-yard line, but went for it on fourth down. See what happens here.
Both teams have been in the red zone at once, and Lebanon trying to get back there again, but again, they have another flag. That is their 5th penalty and their 4th false start of the night.
Yeah, and third one, again, inside the 30.
So that'll be a 5-yard penalty. This time it looked like it was Colin Fouts just again. Colin Fouts has had a tough night getting the snap count right.
And again, it's early, but these are some things throughout the season that you obviously need these to be more minimal. You expect a little bit more here on the outside of the season here in the first game.
Still first down here, though, for the Tigers. And now we have a whistle, and it looks like another timeout going to be called. It's going to be taken by the Arabians. I believe that is their third and final timeout of the half, if I'm not mistaken. So everybody kind of catches their collective breath here, but Craig, someone's got to break the stalemate at some point here before halftime.
No, and I think the mixing it up, you've seen a little bit more diversity in terms of the offense of the play calling with Pendleton Heights. It's been a little bit more consistent with Lebanon. I think it's one thing that you got to continue to see. How can you get Reese and how can you get Lark opportunities? I think that's and to get them in space. But I mean, both teams at the end of the day, it's got to be about cutting down your mental mistakes, whether it's, not only the miscues on the snaps, but also just mental breakdowns on some of these penalties that we've seen.
Pendleton Heights, as we talked about with Lebanon earlier, playing in sectional number 21. Pendleton Heights plays in sectional 22 this year, and again, it's affectionately known as the Hoosier Heritage Sectional, with only Beech Grove, Richmond, and Connorsville the other schools that are in that sectional as well. But you have New Palestine, Mount Vernon, as well as Greenfield Central, and the likes of that sectional as well for Pendleton. Out of the timeout, good defensive stand there by the Arabian defensive line.
And it's been one of the situations, too, where they not only both teams have gotten progress and getting to where they do on the opponent's side of the field, but the other thing that's been common is every time that they've gotten deep in their opponent's territory is they both go backwards, whether it's through penalties or whether it's through tackles for losses that they're giving up. So got a second along here. I mean, when you're in these types of situations, you'll take the first down, but what you really want to try to do is get about 8 or 9 of this back and make it third and manageable.
Folden again, faking the handoff, looking to the end zone, trying to find Lark, and it is incomplete. And that is going to be a flag. Pass interference on the play is going to be the call as they were looking for Trey Reese.
Well, I'm sure the Arabian fans is like, hey, it's one thing you called it, but what about ours down here at the other end that we had? So, but this will give them 15 and an automatic first down.
Again, taking a look here, a lot of contact there between Reese and it looked like it might have been, looked like Nolan Souders on the coverage with a little bit of help from Wes Kupfer.
And he's their best cover guy. I mean, he's ones that's getting some all-state nods as well.
Take a look at this again. Souders just getting a hand in the face right there on Reese. And, yeah, just a lot of early contact, I'd say, right there on that one.
Yeah, and maybe in some ways, there's some plays where giving up 15 is better than giving up 6 points, right?
Indeed, as this will be 15 yards from the previous spot. And it looks like looked like it was 15 yards and just the straight 15 yards and not an automatic first down, as I'm not mistaken. The pylon still reads second down. Of course, the scoreboard says first down. We'll get some clarification on what that is, but that should be an automatic first down as far as I know. The ball sits now at the 15-yard line.
Huh.
Meanwhile, plenty of kids out enjoying the night here. Again, there's about 2 or 3 pickup football games that I can see around John Broughton Field here.
Yeah, no, I just saw the official talk to the down marksman, and they're keeping it second down.
So second down and a short 1 yard right here. So it's 15 yards from the previous spot on that penalty. And Shockley will pick up the extra yard and then some to make it a first down this time.
Well, and they're hoping that their guys up front can give them some good push here. You're probably going to look for a lot of runs here with 3 minutes to go in the game, trying to burn as much clock as you can. And if you do score, try to leave less for this Arabian offense to deal with.
Lebanon going to try and get on the scoreboard for the first time here tonight for either team. It has been turnovers and just overall lack of rhythm on offense by both of these teams that has kept the goose eggs up at the moment. So ball at the 12-yard line. Fulton going under center, and
Another
Lebanon is
timeout,
going to
Lebanon.
call their third and final timeout. So both teams burning through all 3 of their timeouts here with still about 3 minutes left to go here in the second quarter. So offensive coordinator Mark Brown for Lebanon not liking what he saw there as they were lining up on this first down play coming up. So again, Lebanon going to be going up against the likes of Zionsville next week. Back at home in Lebanon before they start conference play on the road at Danville September 1st. And then it'll be conference play from there on out for the Tigers heading up until the postseason. As for the Pendleton Heights Arabians, they go on the road against Anderson next week. That'll be a 7 o'clock kickoff before starting Hoosier Heritage Conference play against Newcastle September 1st. Both these conferences very competitive. Of course, the Sagamore Conference, where the Lebanon Tigers are a founding member. Of course, you can also catch next week's matchup here on NineStar TV as the Mount Vernon Marauders will take on the Franklin Grizzly Cubs. It'll be the home opener there for Mount Vernon. Myself and Dale Carlson will be on the car. You can on the call rather. You can catch that right here on NineStar TV and on the brand new NineStar Now app. So with everything said and done from the timeout, under center again here is Fulton. Fake handoff, looking towards the end zone again, and it is almost caught. And it is nearly picked off as well there by Souter as it goes incomplete. Looking for Lark on the play there was Fulton.
Well, trying to put it at a place where you could have your athletic player go up and make an acrobatic catch, and momentarily he had it, but then I think it was broken up nicely as we'll see the replay here.
Again on play action here as Fulton looking towards the end zone. It is in Lark's hands. Good coverage there by Nolan Souders to knock it out of play. Again, Nolan Souders led the team in interceptions a season ago. He almost had another one here tonight. He had the catch.
Yeah, great job by Nolan there and breaking that up.
2nd down and 10 here. Lebanon can get the first down without scoring here. They only have to get to the 2. Fulton again, back to pass, has some protection. It's only for a moment, though, and he gets sacked in the backfield. First sack of the season for the Arabians, and it goes to Eli Libler.
Well, both these defenses tonight have to this point, have really made the plays when they've needed to. Coming up big and forcing them to a 3rd and long here.
And you saw Eli Arthur kind of distracting the running back blockers there at the moment there for Lebanon, and that allowed Eli Libler to just slip right in there and get the sack. 3rd down and 12 here for Lebanon. Again, Lebanon going to try and milk as much clock as they can here in the event that the Arabians get another crack at it before halftime. Fulton looking to the end zone, trying to find his man, tipped up, intercepted. It is going to be Peyton Pollock going to be coming down with it, and he goes down immediately to stop the clock. What a play there.
It's like flag on the play, but it's going to be against Lebanon, so naturally it's going to be declined.
And Peyton Pollock, who plays right guard on the offensive line for Pendleton, is also a backup defensive lineman. Comes up with it right here. It's a short floater here. Looked like it may have been touched a little bit, and that goes right into the hands of Pollock to get his first career interception on defense.
Well, there's not a lot of linemen feeling like I'm going to get a lot of interceptions. Well, today's this young man's time, so what a great opportunity for him. And I'll tell you what, if nothing else, these guys at film tomorrow for the defensive coordinators can ask for raises, right?
Also of note, we always ask the coaches for a 2-deep as we prepare for the games. Peyton Pollock is not listed as the 2nd defensive lineman. He is a third-string lineman, it looks like, getting in there on reps there on defense, and he comes away with the pick.
Well, and that's another film topic there for tomorrow. It's like, Coach, I got to at least be moved up to 2nd string now. Great job, though.
1-yard run there by the Arabians as the clock continues to run. And Pendleton Heights not showing a whole lot of urgency here, so they may be content here, Craig, to just kind of take this 0-0 result to halftime to try and get ready for the second half. So they'll bring Dresden Roberts in here at running back as the play clock starts to wind down. Wilson going to keep it on the ground here. He tries to shake it to the outside. And he gets a few yards on the play, call it about 4. Going to bring up third down and a long 5. So needless to say here, Craig, a few things on offense that both teams will have to iron out here going into the second half.
Well, I think one's got to be you got to cut down on your mental mistakes. That's hurt both of these teams. And I think just the execution of both these teams have quarterbacks. Again, I've said it before about getting them out of the pocket and allowing them to make plays with their feet.
So Wilson going to stand in the backfield and let the clock continue to wind, about an 8-second difference between game and play clock. And here is Roberts. Going to push it forward for another gain of 2, and it'll bring up 4th down and short. And that should bring us to the end of the first half. So both defenses coming up strong, both offenses coughing the ball up an awful lot. A lot to talk about here between these two coaching staffs as we send it to halftime. We'll send it to break. Third quarter coming at you in about 15 minutes right here on NineStar TV and the NineStar Now app.
We are really heavily involved in the community, so there are multiple different volunteer opportunities that we can go and do.
Volunteer time to share their time and talents with organizations that need not only monetary assistance, but just people's time to help those organizations grow and thrive.
NineStar is a different kind of company, and the difference is you.
Getting ready for the second half here at John Broughton Field here on NineStar TV and the NineStar Now app. Alongside Craig Cox, I'm Kurt Darling. Once again, thank you so much for joining us here tonight at John Broughton Field as Pendleton Heights and Lebanon, they are locked in a scoreless stalemate after the first 2 quarters of play. And now we get set for hopefully will be the opposite going into the second half here, Craig.
Yeah, no, it was things, but both teams showed the tails of both sides of the ball. But, I mean, it was one that both of them answered with the same thing. So neither team could really capitalize on some of the mistakes of their opponent, and that's why we're still sitting here at 0-0. So sure, there's some things that they made in terms of coaches with their respective adjustments, and certainly looking for some of these mental breakdowns to be able to be more minimized here in the second.
A noticeable lack of scoring here in this game, but Craig, lots of scoring elsewhere throughout the state right now.
Yeah, there is. I mean, some outside of our area. Obviously, Peru over Logansport 28-14. Ben Davis was down. They traveled over to Cincinnati against Moeller, was down early 14-7, but they've actually rattled off 21 unanswered to be up 28-14 late in the second. Obviously got Westfield, as we just heard here, as it was announced as well. A little bit of a surprise at halftime. The Shamrocks of Westfield blanking out the Dragons of New Powell right now, 24-0. Park Tudor 42-6 late in the second. Lafayette Harrison over West Lafayette 14-0. A few other ones, obviously Arsenal Tech scoreless in the first half to Lawrence Central, who's got 28 and into the third. And then obviously got some other ones. Ron Colley up 37-6 over another Southside opponent in Southport. And that's what we got a lot around the area. Bedford North Lawrence up 13-3 right now over Martinsville.
Of course, welcoming back Bill McKenna here tonight, our longtime cameraman and producer here on NineStar TV. Kind of pinch hitting for us tonight on the main cam. Glad to have him back here with the crew as well. Taking a look at some statistics here from the first half. here of this ball game. Isaac Wilson, so far the leading rusher here for the Arabians. He has 8 carries for 44 yards. He only has 1 completed pass out of 4 attempts for 13 yards. That 1 completion going to Caden Sims, which was for 13 yards. On the other side, Brendan Shockley is the leading rusher for the Lebanon Tigers. He has 13 carries for 50 yards. And then Jackson Folden doing well through the air so far today. He is 4 of 10 for 59 yards to go along with 3 of those catches going to Caden Lark, who has 57 yards of those through the air. Taking a look at some team statistics, lots of glaring stuff to look at here as the Lebanon Tigers have 5 first downs on that first half to Pendleton Heights' 3. Meanwhile, Pendleton Heights, though, has outgained Lebanon on the ground, 73 yards to Lebanon's 62 yards. But overall, Lebanon has more overall yards. They have gained 109 net yards on the night, but they also have 4 penalties that they have given 20 yards back on. Lebanon is also dominating time of possession by about 14 minutes to Pendleton Heights' 9 seconds. Each team is about 1 of 5 in third down conversions. So, with all those numbers in mind here, Craig Cox, what is one of the main things that specifically Pendleton are really wanting to look for here going into the second half as they start on defense?
Well, I think a lot of it is being able to sustain some of the big plays. I mean, both these teams have actually been able to show the ability to rattle off some big plays. It's just being able to sustain the drive. It happened to both of them, but probably 3 times to Pendleton as they got inside the 30 and once inside the red zone. But then they started going backwards. So it's in a position where they got to put a drive together to be able to punch it in. And I think, that's going to, really propel and put some great momentum for these teams to carry through this second half.
There is Isaac Wilson getting warmed up here. He's been taking the majority of the snaps here for Pendleton Heights here in this first half. You had Colton Frank kind of subbed in as well at quarterback to take a few snaps. Meanwhile, Jackson Folden has been the starter and the go-to guy for Lebanon from start to so far at this juncture. Again, he has 59 yards through the air. He's really going to want to try and get more connections through the air because that seems really what has been working for the Tigers so far.
Well, and it has. I mean, getting these guys, with Lark and Reese to the outsides and letting them make plays. It's not only the big, long one that they had to Lark. I think it was about 40 to 50-yard play there opposite side of the field. But, I mean, you not only have to get the big plays, but just like we talked about, getting them in space, putting them in motion, getting some jet sweeps or, giving some different looks just to allow them to create, to continue to only move chains, but, again, as we just talked about, sustaining drives.
Pendleton Heights, a little bit of history here for you. Their best record came back in 1998 when they went 11-1 and lost to Hamilton Southeastern in the sectional final. 1998 was also the last year that Pendleton Heights won a Hoosier Heritage Conference championship outright. So they are certainly looking to try and get back into the fold as far as the Hoosier Heritage Conference is concerned. But when you have teams like New Pal and Mount Vernon really kind of being perennial teams in the conference over the last decade or so, and plus Greenfield Central getting back into the conversation as well, it has made the Hoosier Heritage Conference a very competitive conference, to say the least, here that the Arabians have to compete in.
No, it is. I mean, it's obviously been owned a lot by New Pal in their run that they've had. It's kind of different hearing about HSE because at that time in 98, they were 3A. So it's kind of wild to understand and know. When I was in high school in the mid-'80s, they were 2A. So it's just really odd, to hear that. But certainly how quick time moves. But that's an interesting fact there.
And now Hamilton Southeastern, believe it or not,
6.
the AP number one team in Class 6A, which is certainly impressive.
Yeah, and they were on target last year. They got a really short pooch kick that's going out of bounds, supposed to be a flag. But, last year they were rolling to really take a direct drive right to Lucas Oil. And came up a few points, if I'm not mistaken, 3 points short to Carroll. Who beat them in the semi-state, and then of course lost to Center Grove, but no, they were right on target. And I had them last week in a scrimmage at Chittard, but there was a decent amount of turnover that they've had, but certainly got a few key returners coming back to make a good run for them again.
So we're getting things going here in the second half here of this one. The Lebanon Tigers, again, trying to break the stalemate here left behind from the first half. They start at their own 40-yard line. And they go right to Shockley again. He has been the workhorse on the ground for the Tigers in this contest. He leaps ahead for a gain of 6.
Well, and he's one that can just the ground and pound and really get some good positive yards. He's a downhill runner, hits the hole and total acceleration. And you want that. You want to, not having a guy dance as we see here on the replay. But, yeah, he's one that's certainly going to run off the tackles really strong.
Only a junior here is Shockley. He still had 77 carries a season ago as a sophomore with just north of 300 yards on the ground. He also had 2 touchdowns. And they go back to Shockley again, and he lowers his head and plows forward, and he's maybe able to scratch out a yard on that carry.
Set up 3rd and short, looks like about 3. That last play, they had both corners on an island, with both Reese and Lark. You like their ability on one-on-one matchups to be able to get in positions to make plays. But again, we talked about before is not only Wilson being able to make some plays with his feet, but like Nassib and Folden doing the same here for the Tigers as well.
3rd down and a long 3 here for the Tigers. Folden on the delayed handoff. Tries to sweep it outside, this time to Tage Williamson, and he gets absolutely demolished by this defensive front here for Pendleton Heights that has really shown a lot of moxie all game long. They lose a yard on the play.
Yeah, getting great penetration on these gaps. I mean, these running backs, especially when they're running wide and getting some of these sweeps, they're in a position where they just can't get lateral fast enough with this front 4 push.
And Lebanon is going to appear to go for it right now, although they do like to pooch punt it. And it looks like they're going to back up and punt the ball away now. High end over end punt here by Jackson Folden. And that will take a Lebanon Tigers bounce, and it'll be downed around the 15-yard line. So a good punt here will flip the field for the Tigers. And the Arabians have a long way to go. They really need a big drive here to get things moving going in the rest of the second half.
Well, and you come out of break and you don't have the ball in your hands. I mean, what do you want to do? You want to get a team where you're putting them in to where they're 3 and out, and that's exactly what's happened. And so you got set a goal accomplished. Now it's the side that's giving them a little bit of struggle tonight in terms of getting some continuity, and that's on the offensive side of the ball.
So it's Isaac Wilson and Dresden Roberts in the backfield here for Pendleton. Low snap. Handoff is to Roberts. He has a wide open opening. He is getting across midfield, has a couple men to beat. He gets tackled down inside the 30-yard line. What a big run to start the second half by Dresden Roberts. A career-long run for him.
Well, and ladies and gentlemen, that's a linebacker at that. But maybe he's trying to rewrite the script and say, no, I'm not. I'm a running back. But in a position where he's in this type of situation, it's hard for a linebacker / running back to outrun athletic corners that Lebanon has. But what a job by the trenches. It's just the O-line up front and creating the holes.
A 59-yard run there by Dresden Roberts, and that gives the Arabians a huge opportunity now as they go back on the ground to Bo's surface, and he'll plow ahead for a gain of 2.
But, Kurt, we've seen this in the first half with both teams on multiple occasions where they've popped up or popped off some really long pass plays, some runs on both sides. And so it's the things that we talked about before. It's about being able to sustain that. You got to follow that back up now and continue to move chains, work clock, but most importantly, put some points on the board.
Again, rotating the running backs here are the Arabians. Bo surface to Wilson's right. Man in motion, low snap. Wilson loses the handle. It's going to be an incomplete pass. And he's certainly lucky that is the case because Lebanon came with a hard blitz on that one there, Craig, and Pendleton was able to get away from it.
Yeah, I mean, totally. Levi Pollard shot the A-gap right away, as you'll see it here on the replay. There's just nothing to do right there. And, you couldn't get a position where Isaac Wilson could get it off quick enough.
Levi Pollard, the second leading tackler on the Tigers. A season ago, he had 61 tackles on the season. 5 of those were tackles for loss and 3 sacks. So he did lead the team in tackles in the backfield, if you will, for the Tigers last year. Wilson rolling to his left, fires to the outside and has a completion this time to Reese Reddington.
I think it's going to be enough for a first down, Kurt. Looks like they got it marked here at the 15, so it's moving the chains. It's what you want. We talk about sustainability in terms of the drive, moving the clock, moving the chains, and they're there. But this is where it gets tight in order to get that next first down and put themselves inside the 5 with a new set of downs.
So about an 8-yard gain right there through the air to Reese Reddington. Only the second completion all day long for Wilson. And it moves the chains.
They're lining up for a blitz here.
They have to get the handoff quickly, and they do to Surface. Flag on the play. Back. He's into the end zone, but that is going to come back here as it looks like it's going to be a holding call here on Pendleton Heights. So we're going to check the flag here.
If this holds up again, where it's going to be holding against the Arabians. So again, the mental side of that too. Understand it. I mean, you're trying to make things happen, but you got a guy to the outside like that. It's just unfortunate for this team in terms of moving them 5 back. Still remains first down.
And there's the hold right there.
But certainly a good call.
So the guilty party there for Pendleton Heights appears to be Garrett Peterson. There on the outside, just kind of bringing in. He's a linebacker or rather a defensive tackle by trade. But he's in on the edge right there and just going to get a little bit of a hook on the top there on the defender. And that's all you need. So that'll bring it back 10 yards from the previous spot and negate the touchdown there by Bo Surface.
Looks like Keaton Jones in the backfield now. Again, we've talked about on numerous occasions tonight they'll run 4 and 5 different guys.
And they'll give it to Jones this time. He sheds a tackler. No, it's actually Wilson on the keeper. He had everybody fooled. And he gets at least a few of that penalty yardage back, a gain of 4.
Yeah, great RPO there in terms of him keeping that.
And that was his bread and butter all last year as he just splits there through the gap and has a solid gain.
But again, we're right back in that same position where the defense is really forcing the hand of their opponent on the offensive side. We're still second and long.
The ace in the hole, though, that Pendleton Heights do have, though, is Dominic Apo. He was 31 of 31 on PATs last year and 3 for 3 on field goals. So they do have a kicking game. Here is, again, Dresden Roberts, who had that big run to set up where they are now, and he plows ahead for a solid gain of about 7 yards. So the ball advanced to about the 14-yard line, a gain of 6 officially there. Dresden Roberts, really the man of the hour here on this drive here for Pendleton Heights.
Well, let's see here. You got teams that have put off the big plays, as we saw Pendleton Heights do with Roberts. See if they can punch this in. If not, put themselves in a position to have Apo come in and put 3 on the board if not.
Wilson again off to Roberts. He keeps his feet moving. A late flag on the play. And we'll check to see what this is here as Roberts gets it to the 10-yard line. And we'll check the laundry on the field now here, which is around the 6-yard line. It was thrown
the back judge,
by the back judge there in the defensive backfield. It's going to be a face mask against Lebanon.
Wow.
So that is going to be a personal foul and an automatic first down. That sets up a goal-to-go situation here for Pendleton Heights, and that is probably a pretty big break considering that you were about to go up for about 3rd down and long.
Well, put them in a position where, they had to get something in that 3rd down or force a field goal. Now they're at, 5-yard line with a set of new downs.
On the keeper here is Wilson. He tries to get to the outside, tries to squirt towards the end zone, and is going to be about 2 yards shy, a gain of 3 on the play.
And it looks like they're going to be spotting it at the 1. So
give him a gain of 4 yards, 2nd down and goal. Golden opportunity here for the Arabians.
And probably look like a whole lot of Dresden Roberts here, I would imagine, even if you got to go 3 times.
Roberts was the lead blocker there on that play there for Wilson. And again, they have Roberts in the backfield. Wilson, low snap, off to Roberts, tries to punch it up the gut.
I don't know if he got there. Might have even lost a little bit.
Looked like it was awfully close right there. There's still a dog pile on the ball. And Roberts still has it, but it's going to be now 3rd down and a goal to go here with about maybe a loss of a yard on the play, it seems. And again, they give forward progress to right at the line of scrimmage. So ball still at the 1. And this is a big down here for the Arabians. Wilson again. Fake handoff, flag on the play, motion. And it's going to be false start.
Motion.
Yep. Penalties have been a thorn in the side of both teams here today, and it's going to be again here for Pendleton Heights. A false start going to back them up 5 yards. And yep, just beating the snap right there was the big man, number 66, Gabe Martin there, the right tackle.
I think it's a race for 6 points, or 3 for that.
Believe it or not, 3 points are on the table here for Pendleton Heights again. As we mentioned, Apo, a solid kicker for the Arabians a season ago. His season long last year was 26 yards. Wilson in the gun. He's going to throw, looking to the end zone, and it is in. Touchdown, Pendleton Heights. Caden Sims. The big grab right there by the senior finally gets 6 points on the board.
Yeah, great job here hitting the outside foot and leverage and being able to open up the hips of Reese here. Can't see it out of the frame, but out at the time, had his hips on to the outside, bit him on the inside with the quick slant. Really good throw by Wilson to put the first 6 on the night in the game.
And the aforementioned Dominic Apo now on for the point after touchdown. And it's going to be a fake. They're going to try and go for 2 here. Reddington looks into the end zone, and it's caught! Bo Surface gets the 2-point conversion on the broken play. What a sequence there to get the extra point and then some for the Arabians.
Yeah, what a heads-up play. The thing I couldn't really tell, I couldn't tell if it was really a bad snap, and that was by design. But nonetheless, what a great job there by Holder and Reese Reddington and the heads-up play and being able to make that read and put it in a position for his teammate of Bo Surface to be able to make the 2-point conversion.
Well, things certainly just got exciting.
They did, and for points to be such at a premium tonight, to get the 2-point, that could be very substantial at the end.
Well, and that you took the words right out of my mouth there, partner, because, you know, that extra point that they got there from the 2-point conversion just might be a difference maker considering how well both defenses are playing tonight.
Absolutely.
Let's take a look at this touchdown again. A good angle this time as Caden Sims just gets it right in there, beating it. Trey Reese there on the coverage for Lebanon. And then that crazy point later there, a 2-point conversion that looked like it was a broken play. It almost looked like it was a fumbled snap there by Reese Reddington, the holder. And then he turns out and finds Bo Surface in the end zone for a 2-point conversion. That was certainly something to watch right there. What a way to kick off week 1 of IHSAA football here in the state. The sun has set. Temperature's starting to cool down a little bit. It's supposed to get in the mid-50s tonight, believe it or not.
Yeah, we'll take them. I like that fall weather. It's the first time that we've seen Lebanon back for a kickoff at this point and having their 2 athletes in Reese and Lark.
And Apo going to keep it short again. They've been doing this short little pooch kick, and that will set up Lebanon at about the 41-yard line. Of course, that they're kicking it that short anyway. They take the penalty anyway, so that'll set them up at the 40.
Yeah, it's by design. And we kick away from these 2 athletes that they got deep back. I'd like to probably see Pendleton Heights kick it to a little bit deeper to that second line to get a little bit put Lebanon in a little tougher field position, but at the same time, certainly understand why they're kicking away from these 2 athletes for Lebanon.
That was Isaac Wilson's 7th career passing touchdown. He had 6 last season. Getting it done through the air here in the second half here are the Arabians. Speaking of, here is Fulton looking over, has a man in stride. That's Trey Reese. And he gets pushed out of bounds right around the 30-yard line.
Well, I was just thinking, too, Kurt, before that play was happening. I mean, there's been quite a bit of man coverage on both Reese and Lark, which has been a little surprising that there hasn't been more go routes and getting a little bit more of the deep ball, especially when they have these one-on-ones as we see the replay here. Again, letting Fulton get out of the pocket and make these guys put a position. What a great hands catch there. That Reese has in moving the Tigers down the field about 30 yards.
And that puts Fulton close to 100 yards through the air on the night. He had 59 yards through the air before this second half as we have a flag on the play with Shockley getting wrestled down in the backfield.
We got another flag on the play. Coming to the offensive line, typically going to have holding in these types of situations, but we'll wait for the call from the official.
And they're asking Pendleton Heights what they want to do here, so it's going to be a holding penalty against Lebanon. Lebanon had 4 penalties for 20 penalty yards given up in the first half. The majority of those were false starts, and that's the second holding penalty that they have tonight. So that'll back them up to about 1st and 20 from the previous spot. So place the ball at about the 41-yard line. That pass to Trey Reese there from Fulton was about 40 yards to give Fulton now 99 yards through the air so far tonight. Fulton back to pass again. Looking that direction, he's going to tuck it and run. And he's going to make up a lot of that penalty yardage again. Lowers his shoulder to get back to the original line of scrimmage. And then some back out at the 30-yard line.
Hey, I love the decision there by Jackson. Had his guy man-to-man coverage again on the outside that time in Jay Pollock. But, he had a little bit of blanket coverage on him. Tuck it and run. Think about positive yards. You got back your holding call that you got and even +2. So great position to be on here, very manageable to either get the first down or make it very third and very short.
Lebanon moving the ball just like Pendleton Heights did. That was a 12-yard gain there on the ground by Fulton. Back to pass again, has some room, looking outside, nearly tipped up, and it's intercepted. It's going to be taken now, this time by Pendleton Heights. And that is a big grab there by Dontrez Braxton.
And he got 2 penalties on this play, too. This second one that came in is going to go against Pendleton for a late hit on a Lebanon player. Couldn't quite see what the first one was, but it was on the return. So it's very possible that both of these might go against Pendleton. I mean, although they retain possession.
So, yeah, because it's after the interception.
It is. But this could march it back quite a bit.
So the conference of the officials here right about the 32-yard line, but this would be a pivotal turnover here by Lebanon here in this ball game.
Well, Jackson had his guy there, just, ball just sailed on him. There's a high release, and ball came out high and was a fairly attainable pick.
Looked like a miscommunication maybe a little bit on the route, too, because you had both wide receivers kind of going in opposite directions of where the ball was thrown.
Couldn't tell who it was. That Braxton on the pick?
It was Dontrez Braxton.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a block in the back against Pendleton Heights. Again, this is after the interception.
And then a personal foul, too.
And then unsportsmanlike. So that'll go against Lebanon. So 2 dead ball fouls, which I believe may offset depending on how they shake out. But, yeah, the intended receiver right there was Cade Spanhook there for Lebanon. And instead, Braxton comes up with it there for Pendleton Heights. So that'll be his first career interception as Pendleton Heights, again, they were in the same situation last time. They're deep in their own territory, but A man named Dresden Roberts was able to bust things out and get things moving here and break the stalemate. In the gun this time was Colton Frank, and he touches it forward to Isaac Wilson, who came out of the wide receiver spot, and he turns the corner to get a gain of 5 yards. So you had both quarterbacks in the game that time.
Quarterback to quarterback. But changing a look, I think this is the first time that we've seen kind of a jet sweep, and typically you're not going to always see it with your starting quarterback. But, hey, when you got a position of Coach Richmond, anything's possible.
When you have players who can run, why not?
Right. We got running backs by committee. I think it might be quarterbacks by committee.
Certainly. This time, Frank again in the gun with Roberts to his right. They're going to hand it off to Roberts again this time. Can't quite break it out like he did the previous time, but still he plunges forward for a gain of 2.
Yeah, I must say, I mean, outside of each team maybe having 2, maybe 3, long runs, the big plays, outside of that, I think both teams have done really well against defending the run. I think it's been the big plays in the passing game that have kind of hurt things. I mean, other than Roberts' real long run to set up the score.
And now we have a injury
player
here down. Actually, that is Mason Crew for Lebanon. That's he's going to hobble off under his own power, so it looks like he may be all right. But that would not be a very timely injury here for Lebanon, seeing as how he is one of their leading workhorses on defense and on offense as well. So Crew will take a seat here, get some attention from the athletic trainers. He's not sitting down on the bench, so he's going to try and shake off his ankle there, it looks like. Third down and short here for Pendleton. And a late flag. And a little bit of motion there by Pendleton. That's going to be a false start. Looked like it may have been Luke Graham. He came up frustrated there from the left tackle spot. And that will back them up 5 yards, make it 3rd down and 8. It just seems to me here, Craig, that all of the penalties for both of these teams have really come at the most inopportune times, if there ever is an opportune time for a penalty.
No, I think you're exactly right. I mean, it's really been the story of the night. I mean, outside of the one score that we've had, and that was set up by Dresden Roberts' really long run. But, yeah, it's been totally that all night on the offensive side.
Just getting the snap off there as the play clock expired. Sims, check down pass there from Frank. He gets it across midfield down to the 49-yard line.
A really good, nice job there on a short little 8-yard dig route, and really stop there to be able to move these chains and continue to work some of this clock.
About 21 yards there on the pass and catch to Sims. That's his second catch of the evening, and Colton Frank's first completion of the night.
Well, that's the thing that you want there, too. If you're getting that much cushion, just put the brakes on, run your dig route, and just take 8, 10, and in that case 20 yards, choose each time. Wilson back in at quarterback. He gives it to Bo Surface, who turns on the charge, and actually that is Keaton Jones on the carry, and that is a good one for a first down, a gain of 15 yards. They got a cramp going on from a Lebanon player. Can't quite make out the number.
So we have a Lebanon player taking care of a cramp right now here. Even though it's a nice crisp night here, hydration is always the key to avoid that.
Well, it is, but, the thing is, too, with both these teams, there's a lot of guys, that play both ways, and I think you even probably have more of it on the Lebanon side. Looks like number 19 that we have here.
That is Jay Pollock.
Yep. And so, yeah, you're going to see that when these guys, and some of them are even going 3 ways, with special teams as well.
So Keaton Jones, with a solid gain of 15 yards, gives the Arabians another first down. And it seems to me here, Craig, that ever since that last drive that really put the Arabians over the edge, a lot of rhythm is just really starting to get this offense gelling here for Coach Jed Richmond.
Yeah, no, there's no question. Between last possession they had where they got the score, but also you've had 3 very positive downs that they've got positive yards out of.
So ball at the 35-yard line. First down here for Pendleton. Wilson back to pass, has to negate the pressure from Crew, looking for Sims in the end zone, just out of his reach in single coverage. And that'll bring up second down.
Well, and Lark came up hobbling there too. He's in the end zone there in the north end and kind of gingerly walking.
Here you see Mason Crew coming with the force of a freight train there into the backfield on the blitz, and Wilson's just able to beat that out. So second down and long for Pendleton Heights, and Lebanon trying to hold on defense here to keep themselves within at least one score. Delayed handoff to Roberts, and he'll carve out about 2 yards on the play.
Setting up 3rd and 8 here.
Inside the final minute here of quarter number 3. It's been an eventful one. A lot more eventful than what we saw offensively anyway, compared to the first half. Dresden Roberts, you see coming out of screen there, had a big run, which would end up setting up the only score of the night on the previous possession here by Pendleton Heights. Colton Frank back here, or rather it's still Wilson with Surface and the running back with him. Surface, rather Wilson has to get the ball off, and it is going to be incomplete, looking for Reese Reddington. So 4th down here, and might be an interesting decision coming up here from head coach Jed Richmond. Again, probably a little bit out of range as far as a field goal is concerned here, so they may try and go for it right here. They have been giving Lebanon field position at about the 40-yard line all night long on kickoffs.
Yeah, I don't think, going with punt here is certainly not going to, it might give you 10, 15 yards maybe at most. And I think this position on the field at the 33, it's certainly that territory of being 4 down.
So here's Wilson, and they're going to go for it. Looking towards the end zone, wide open man just overthrows his receiver, though. He was looking for Nate DeRolf, who was completely uncovered along the sideline. And that's going to be a turnover on downs and a late flag here as we have some chippiness here. And it looks like maybe some mouthing off here between a couple players. Looked like it involved Levi Poland and maybe Reese Kiesling here for Pendleton Heights. We'll see what the flag is.
I'm sure Isaac would love to have that play back. I'll tell you, if this goes on Lebanon after getting a turnover on downs and turns it right back over to Pendleton Heights, and he's pointing that way.
We'll see what the deal is here, and definitely a mental lapse in judgment right there if Lebanon ends up being the guilty party on sportsmanlike conduct going against Lebanon. And that is going to be an automatic first down, and the player is ejected.
We know who it was on.
It looked like it may have been Levi Poland. I saw, because it looked like Eli Bridges, Lebanon number 66, was shoving Levi Poland away from everything to try and get him to get away from it. So it's still going to be Lebanon ball when all is said and done. It's just going to be penalty yardage after the fact, and there you see the ejected player. That is Levi Poland. His night is done. Certainly not the way you want to start off a football season.
No, not at all, especially more so. Not that there's any good time for that, but with a quarter to go and you're still very much in this game. And
so after all that, Lebanon is still on offense here after the turnover on downs from Pendleton. And now we're going to get a timeout here taken by Lebanon. They're going to probably try and mentally reset there after that whole exchange between the two teams. 13 seconds remaining here in quarter number 3. And it looks like they may have actually had a situation with the play clock here. So when all said and done, they get things going here. First down. And Lebanon trying to answer. Big rush here. Folden Fires down the middle, and good coverage there by Pendleton Heights.
Well, it's a good thing that Mason Crew is back in there, because Levi Poland, who just got ejected, is his backup, and Crew went down just a bit ago with some cramps. So if Crew goes back down there again, I have to go deep into the depth chart at that point for Coach Smock.
Sam Ray here on the coverage, as Folden was looking for Sam Kiker on the play. So it only takes about a second off of the clock, though, and after all of that. Second down and 10 here for Lebanon. Folden to the outside. Has Lark. Sheds some tacklers. Gets close to a first down out to the 30-yard line.
Yeah, I'm just a bit surprised, as much as we see Reese getting the ball here, that he just isn't getting more lion's share of the ball. I mean, I know sometimes you got to spread it around, but when you're struggling this much offensively as they have, I just think that you try to do some different things with him, whether it's getting him in motion, doing some jet sweep, maybe even getting him in the backfield at times when he has those one-on-ones. I mean, going to him. He's been appearing to be a pretty decent route runner as well. He's a guy that had almost 800 yards in receiving last year, and so we head into the fourth.
Fourth quarter coming at you next right here on NineStar TV.
This is your IHSAA. This is your state. This is your high school. This is your athletic association.
Fans, I'm IHSAA Commissioner Paul Knighty, and we're here to make sure that all of this remains yours.
This is your state. This is your community. This is your IHSAA.
Back live here at John Broughton Field here on NineStar TV and the NineStar Now app alongside Craig Cox. I'm Kurt Darling. An 8-0 score so far. Pendleton Heights breaking a scoreless stalemate in the third quarter, and now going to try and close things out here. But Lebanon has an opportunity here on this drive here with 12 minutes left to go here, Craig. And Jackson Folden will hand it off to his running back. Shockley has a little bit of running room as he gets swallowed up in the backfield there. Clint Miller out on the tackle as well. It'll be a gain of about 5.
Yeah, really nice run. What you want on first down, get good positive yards. Got 5, almost 6, and looks like they'll give him 6. So second and short. You got another one down.
And we have another Lebanon player. It looks like it's Shockley. Shockley has to be helped to his feet. He's going to walk off under his own power.
And he's one they need. He was such a big asset to them in the first half.
He's been their leading rusher so far all game long, so it looks like we may see a lot more of Tague Williamson.
As a reminder, we have pickle juice in the concession stand.
Wow. A little friendly quib there from the PA announcer.
Yeah, I got a little comedy going.
Here's Folden again, and we're going to get a false start again on Lebanon. I'll tell you what, that's the first time I've ever heard something like that.
I don't know. Pickle juice in the concessions. I don't know, that last one, though, was a cramp. I couldn't really tell, but he kind of walked off a little bit more wobbly than anything.
Couldn't quite tell what the nature of the injury was. As the clock continues to roll here, a penalty moves things back again now here, as it'll be second down and 9 for the Tigers. Folden hands off to his running back Williamson, and he's not going to get much out of that one, maybe a yard. So Tague Williamson, again the backup running back. He is the starting linebacker, already has a fumble recovery tonight on defense for the Tigers.
Not sure what happened, more to Trey Reese. Hasn't been in there in quite some time. Looks like Colton Pollard, the junior, is in for the Tigers and has been for the last 2 possessions.
Kiker out wide along with Lark. Folden looking to the other opposite side, and that's going to fall incomplete again. Looking for his receiver, Colton Pollard. And that'll bring up 4th down. Another big defensive stand right there by Pendleton Heights. There's one thing that's been working all night long for them. It has been their defense.
Clint Miller back deep for the Arabians. Lark in the kick.
So letting some time run off here. And Lark will put his boot into it. And here's Miller. He gets it back across the 45 before he gets even more a little bit, though. Tackled forward and into plus territory. You had Arson Mapanda there on the tackle on special teams for Lebanon. And there's Shockley back in there on special teams, but you can tell he's still a little hobbly as Miller takes advantage of an opening right here to put Pendleton back in some good field position.
Reese is back in now on the defensive side of the ball. Been out the last 2 series on the offensive side.
Frank in on offense now at quarterback.
It's like my panda again.
And he will swallow up Bo Surface on the carry, but still he's able to punch it forward for maybe a gain of about a half yard on the play. And they'll call it no gain. 9 minutes and 30 seconds remaining in this contest here. Frank back to pass again. Looks over the right side, has his man. And on the completion, it looks like it is going to be and that's going to be Drake Stevens. Again, another player that is about a third on the depth chart here. A lot of different players getting some reps here on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, we talked about new faces in new places. I mean, listed as a quarterback and a DB, running a nice little dig here to the sideline and good little fundamental route. And again, this is chunk point possessions to where you're getting 8-10 yards. Again, you're moving chains. It's ball control. This is just where again, sustainability in a drive is key.
Jet sweep this time to DeRolf. He tries to turn the corner, and he kind of does. He maybe gets a yard on the play.
Yeah, those are tough plays there where you come from the outside of the field and run into the other. Run into the other. You're really running probably 40 yards, to get to game one. But again, setting up a 2nd and long here.
And the clock continues to roll here for Pendleton.
Well, one that in a game like this community is certainly wanting that clock to run.
Say at this point again, defense has been the dominating factor in this game all game long. Handoff this time on the ground to Roberts. And he punches ahead for a gain of 4.
Roberts on the carry up the middle.
That's again where you're at 3rd and 6. This is where I really like to have Wilson get out of this pocket and be able to be a dual threat, make progressional reads. Maybe it's a check down or maybe it's a tuck and run because he is one that has shown us that he can make plays with his feet. But I like him to be able to get out of the pocket.
3rd down and a long 6 here for the Arabians. Wilson, delayed handoff this time to Surface, and he tries to cut to the left side, and he gains a couple yards, but he'll still be well short of a 1st down.
Again, this areas where they were at last possession as well. 4 down territory. They're the exact same place at the 33 or now 32-yard line, being at 4th and manageable.
They were able to get the first down last time. Pendleton Heights threatening once again. And now we have a whistle and a timeout going to be called on the field. And it's going to be Pendleton Heights calling their first timeout here of the second half as they try to catch their breath, trying to close this game out here. Again, it's still a big night and a big time of growth here for Pendleton Heights, but so as it is for these two teams. Franklin and Mount Vernon going to be going at each other next week at Fortville Hancock Health Stadium. We'll have the coverage live right here on NineStar TV and the NineStar Now app. Myself and Dale Carlson will be on the call. You can catch that next week, 7 o'clock, right here on NineStar TV. Student section out in force here for Pendleton. Again, as a time of growth here for the Arabians. 106 players in this football program, which Jed Richmond says is the most that they have ever had in school history.
Well, you got to like that. I mean, it's exciting for not only these kids for the opportunity to suit up and have the opportunity to play or be on the field, but, you know, most importantly, I think it's great for the community. You know, this is, you know, a strong-knit, you know, community and families, and it's something that these young fellas got great things to look forward to when they're playing in 4th and 5th and 6th grade and coming out here and seeing what they're going to be in another 5 or 6. So love that. Great support and close-knit community.
Man in motion here for Pendleton, and we're going to get a flag, and it looks like it's going to be another false start here against the Arabians.
False start on the Arabians.
So a big line change now. It'll be 4th down, and it looks like Pendleton is going to choose to punt here instead of going for it after the penalties. So we'll see Wes Kupfer come back out. He already has 2 punts tonight so far. And now looks like they're going to bring him back off the field. So looks like now they're going to go for it. So they look like they're going to punt it, and now they're going to try and go for it here. They only have 3 seconds to get the ball off. And now Pendleton is going to have to burn another timeout. And Jed Richmond getting out onto the field, he is not happy with his personnel right now.
Well, and especially the main reason for that is, I mean, and some of it is whether that was by design to kind of keep him off bay or whether it was a mix-up in terms of trying to pull back and now go for it or kick. But, you know, after just burning a timeout, you know, 2 plays ago, having to burn another one, and where it can be so critical. It's still a 1-score game, and depending on what they do with this defensive stand and what Lebanon shows, that this could be a game here that comes down right to the end.
So now the official decision is to go for the punt. So Wes Kupfer comes back onto the field after running off and then coming back on again. And they'll try and pin Lebanon deep in their own territory. And Kupfer will put his boot into it. It's a long end-over-end kick, and oh, he touched it. That's going to be a touchdown for Pendleton Heights.
Oh, wow.
No, they're going to call a touchback. Oh, my goodness, it looked like he touched it.
And now they're going to get a flag for the coach coming on the field. But I'm surprised. It's one thing for the one official not to do it, but the sideline judge was certainly an advantage point to easily see that. But
Let's take a look at this right here. So you see now, looks like they're going to call a touchdown now. You take a look at this here now. Once the player touches the ball, right there, it is live. That is a live ball, and it is picked up by Nolan Souders, who is going to get credited with the touchdown.
They're conferencing it up once again. Still no official signal. I don't know that it's been, but that's clearly a score, Kurt.
That is a touchdown. by the rule book. Now, of course, unfortunately, they cannot use the aid of our replay here tonight, of course, IHSAA rules, but still, that is a touchdown.
There's no official word yet, and Coach Richmond ran out on the field, and then they threw a flag at that. So I don't know if that – I mean, they can call the touchdown, but I don't know that you can pull the flag back. So the flag might be still enforced on the extra point if, in fact, the touchdown is awarded.
It may depend on the nature of the flag. If it's a dead ball personal foul, it can still be enforced. So we take a look at this again. Again, it was touched right there and then picked up by Nolan Souders. That is a touchdown.
Well, and the thing is the ref threw his marker down at the 2-3 yard line, signifying where the ball's been touched. So at that point,
he may have thought it was touched by Nolan Souders.
Yeah.
In which case, it would have been downed right there.
Wow, this is a really big call.
A little bit of controversy right now here as the officials conferencing now here with Jed Richmond on the sideline. And we'll see what the official call is now. And they're going to have to talk to Coach Smock as well, so they can make sure that he is privy to what is going on here.
A paramount call, really, for both sides. I mean, you know, for Lebanon to get the ball back without the score gives them a chance to tie it up, or for –
and it looks like Coach Smock isn't happy right now, so it looks like this may be going Pendleton Heights' way.
Here comes the official call.
And it is a touchdown. It is a touchdown.
Yeah,
and that is the correct call.
It is, but you know what's really good about this is not just the call, but it's more so how they arrived at the call. You know, it's a sign of a good officiating crew where they can come together. You know, I might not have been able to see what happened, but you come together, you consult with each other, give your feedback, come together, come to a common agreement, and make the right call. It's a way to get it done.
Just so we have it completely affirmed right now, there is the touch. It is a live ball, and it is recovered in the end zone by Nolan Souders.
Yeah, good job.
It is
by this
indisputable right there.
Very good.
So a big turn of events right there after a punt goes awry for Lebanon, and Pendleton Heights is able to cash in.
See if Reese Reddington tries his little 2-point conversion again, right?
An unbelievable throw on a broken play for the PAT on the previous touchdown. And now Dominic Apo on to try the PAT here. Again, Apo was perfect on the season last year on PATs, 31 for 31 on the year. Good hold, and it is short and through the uprights. They just had to beat out the rush there on the edge, but it is a PAT nonetheless. 15-0, Pendleton Heights on top of Lebanon here on a huge break on special teams. And now if you're Lebanon, not only do you give up that touchdown, but the way you give up that touchdown, that can certainly be a big detriment to their morale.
No, there's no question. And, I mean, you teach your kids, certainly when you need to stay clear of the ball on a punt or a kickoff, is to clear. When you got your returner that has not made a play on the ball, everybody else needs to stay away, and especially getting as close to the end zone as it was. So just a little bit of a mental breakdown, obviously, with that. Plays over, you got to have short-term memory, get right back to it. There's still plenty of time. They've got to be able to score here, but there's plenty of time to score, get a stop, and have a possession to tie this game up.
7 minutes and 6 seconds to be exact. So Lebanon coming back out here. They'll have their kick returners, but Pendleton has been kicking it short all night long. Certainly fine with conceding the field position. Now, here is where the penalty will come into play here, it appears. It looks like it was an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty against Pendleton Heights, so they are going to add the 15 yards to the kickoff. So they will be kicking off now from their own 25-yard line.
Well, and that's for Richmond leaving the sidelines, which emotions get the best of you, and rightfully so, because he was seeing what we saw up here in the booth and on the replay, and what you saw in your living rooms as well. So it's one of those things that, again, that happens, and I think he was a just cause for that, and I'm sure you'll take this 15 in trade for having the right call made.
Of course, being back this deep now, it looks like you're going to have to get a little bit of a boot into this one if you're APO, and it's going to be fielded here, and scrum for the ball right there, as it looked like it may have been live again, but it is recovered there by Lebanon right around their own 40-yard line.
Well, this is where Lebanon is really going to be in a position where they're putting, and it looks like that we once again got Mason Crew down.
That's actually
that's
Tyga.
That's Tag Williams, or
That's
Williamson.
Tag Williamson. He is the backup running back and starting linebacker for Lebanon. Looks like he's going to be able to get off under his own power, but a lot of the running back linebacker duos here for Lebanon have been getting banged up here. Brendan Shockley earlier had to hobble off the field, but he has since been able to return to the ball game.
Yeah, as did Mason Crew, and he's been back too. But what I was going to say earlier is that, Lebanon's going to have to string together 3 good possessions. I mean, they're going to have to get a score, they're going to have to get a stop, and be in a position to see what can happen on the answer of a final drive.
Pretty big drive here for Lebanon. Handoff goes to Shockley. He bounces off of the line and goes to the outside. He has a lot of running room, gets the first down, able to outrun Clint Miller before he's shoved out of bounds, and that will be a 20-yard gain right there for Shockley.
Great first down yardage on any down for that matter. Good positive piece, and that's what they need to do. And this is where they kind of got to find their balance. You got to take what the defense gives you, and depending on making your reads, but this is where Jackson Folden has to be in a position where he grows up, pretty quick.
And Jackson Folden, a 5'8", 200-pound junior at quarterback here for Lebanon. Nearly picked off by the defensive backfield there by Pendleton Heights, but he's actually able to get it to his receiver for maybe a gain of a yard. And now we have a late flag. Certainly a little bit of chippiness right now here between the sidelines.
And that looks like Lark.
It was Lark on the reception, and Eli Arthur was pulled away from the.
And it looks like Lark jumped off the sidelines, grabbing his hand, but he doesn't even have his helmet on. So don't know what maybe happened there, and I didn't unsportsmanlike against Lebanon.
Oh, it's going to be against Lebanon here,
and it makes me assume again that might be on Lark.
And it looked like the official was about to make the signal that someone was getting ejected, but it looks like that's not the case.
Because Reese jumped out of there pretty quick without his helmet on, so it this is where you just got to – it's tough. Any game is emotional, but certainly football has another whole level to it. But you just got to be composed and have a lot of poise in these moments, especially when you need to string together a couple good drives on both sides of the ball for your team.
6.5 minutes left to go. So when all is said and done, it's going to be 1st and 25 for Lebanon. Folden has to step up in the park pocket, and he checks it down trying to find his receiver. And couldn't quite get it there to Cade Spanhook. Lots of pressure here in the backfield here by Pendleton Heights. One of them in particular, Eli Libler. And it's 3rd down and long here for Lebanon. This might be the play of the game right here for Lebanon to try and stay in this one. Folden has to roll to his left again. Pump fakes, evades the pressure only for a moment before he is brought down in the backfield, and that will be a sack for Bryant Davis. Excellent coverage in the defensive backfield there by Pendleton.
Well, and the good thing there is Jackson didn't, he could have chucked this down the field, but everybody was covered at this point. You actually had a check down there. You're right, to Crew.
Yeah, or it looked like Reese, Trey Reese actually was the man open. It looked like either way, missed assignment right there, but still it is going to be 4th down and long. So here we go, 4th down and 32 yards. Lebanon going to have to go for it right here, it seems, unless they elect to pooch, punt it away. They're going to go for it. Long heave trying to find Reese, batted down by Miller. And a turnover on downs will set up Pendleton in excellent field position in plus territory.
Well, and you know what thing I like about that right there is, you know, you're in a position where you got Clint Miller that could have easily picked that off, but knowing it's 4th down, it's like, you know, I'm going to sacrifice the individual accolades as we see it here. Could have easily, and he just knocked it down because he knows he's gaining 30 yards, you know, by not taking the interception for personal reasons. But since it's 4th down, it's turnover on downs, and they got much better field position. So kudos to the young man for doing that.
That's what we call presence of mind.
Absolutely.
Right there. And Clint Miller already had an interception earlier today, and he decides to forego the INT and bat that one down and give Pendleton excellent field position. Wilson back in at quarterback here for the Arabians. He's going to go up the gut this time to Keaton Jones, and he plows ahead for a gain of 5.
Number 6, Keaton Jones on the carry.
I'll tell you what, you know, Coach Richmond's not only got the 4 or 5 running backs, but, you know, they're different style of running backs. You know, he's got 3 of them with Jones and Roberts. That's really the downhill smash brothers. But I mean, you got some other ones that they have in putting themselves in a position, even Bo Surface as well, to where they not only have different styles of running, but they have fresh legs. And I'm telling you, these guys stay healthy like that. There's really some damage that they can do when they get deeper into the season by having so many fresh guys.
Wilson, hand off to Surface. He sheds an initial tackler. He gets across the 25-yard line, and that'll probably be good for a 1st down.
And you can expect to be very run-heavy here just to keep that clock moving. Lebanon with all their timeouts left. And
so
Pendleton will certainly be in a position where they're going to force them to use that by all the runs.
So it's a 1st down here for the Arabians, and they're going to try and keep this clock moving as much as they can.
And surprised that they're already to the line of scrimmage with 35 on the clock. It's like, stay in your huddle.
They also had a delay in getting the chains moved, and they can't start the play clock until the chains get moved.
Yeah, because then you force your lineman to stay down in position for 25 seconds. You just stay in the huddle. It's discipline, though, right?
Staying still, they snap the football. It'll be Jones again on the carry.
Number 6, Keaton Jones on the carry.
So Pendleton Heights again
Tackle by number 41, Jeffrey.
just trying to close this out. Lebanon will stop the clock now here. They'll burn their first time out here of the second half. So that'll stop it at 3 minutes, 14 seconds. So the Lebanon Tigers were looking for their 3rd win all-time against Hoosier Heritage Conference opponents here today. It looks like that might be slowly slipping away from them. They're 2-4 all-time against the HHC. They'll turn right around and take on Zionsville next week.
A few finals for you, obviously, as expected from the previous updates. Westfield beating New Pal tonight, 34-14. So I know the sounds of the Arabian country like the sounds of the Dragons getting beat. Park Tudor over Greenwood Christian, 42-6. Harrison beating West Lafayette, 42-6. Ben Davis obviously took down Moeller, Ohio and Cincinnati area. Ron Colley beating Southport, 43-20. That's also a final. Speedway late in the 4th quarter up 33-21 over Covenant. Covenant top 5 team in 1A. Speedway there at 2. Got a few other ones. Danville 15-14 in a nail biter. over Greencastle. A lot of games tonight, obviously kicking off the season. Guerin Catholic 18-3 late in the fourth quarter there. Try to get some other ones to you before the end of this one.
Keaton Jones again on the carry, and that'll be a tackle for loss there for Lebanon. You mentioned Danville. That will be Lebanon's third opponent on the season, September 1st on the road in Danville. That'll open Sagamore Conference play for them.
Another crosstown rivalry with Burbuff and Bishop Chittard. Chittard winning that right now in the fourth quarter, 49-23. Pike over Zionsville by 4 late in the third. A lot of area scores. Perry Meridian, no update on that. Latest update on that was still zeros at halftime. So I don't know if that game got started late. Western Boone over Sheridan as a final, 35-16. Greenwood, 51-42 over Seymour. Obviously right here, Pendleton Heights, 15-0 over Lebanon. Exciting time kicking off first week of high school football.
It'll be an interesting season to say the least. Again, you had lots of reclassification a little bit, as well as a few tweaks to the game. Hamilton Southeastern, the top team in Class 6A according to the Associated Press. Number 6 in the coaches poll.
Another interesting one we talked a little bit earlier about Hamilton Southeastern, approach number 1 in 6A. There's a rematch of that semi-state game last year where Carroll beat them by 3, traveled down to HSE tonight. It's in the fourth quarter, and HSE handed it to them at 21-7.
So Hamilton Southeastern getting a little bit of revenge right there, as there's a look towards the end zone by Pendleton Heights, and the coverage is pretty stout right there by Lebanon.
Pass intended for DeRolf, falls incomplete.
Trying to find Nate DeRolf there. We're the Arabians. That'll stop the clock here at 3 minutes, 2 seconds. Again, Wilson just trying to unload. He already has 1 touchdown pass tonight. Almost got his first interception of the season right there. The 4th down and about a long 7 here for Pendleton Heights. And they might just be on the fringe of field goal range here for Dominic Apo if they want to try and do that. Here's Wilson. Rolling out, looking to the end zone again. Racked up and nearly caught that time by Nick Trout out of the backfield. And that'll be a turnover on downs here for Pendleton. Next up for Pendleton Heights will be on the road at Anderson. That'll be August 25th. And then they'll start Hoosier Heritage Conference play against Newcastle here at home. That'll be back-to-back home games, actually. As after that, September 8th, they'll take on Greenfield Central. So certainly not the start to the season that Lebanon wanted after they got off to a good start against Pendleton Heights a season ago. Folden trying to look ahead, and it looks like that was batted down by one of the defenders at the line of scrimmage, incomplete, and it'll bring up 2nd down.
Well, it gives both these teams an opportunity. Much like the scrimmage, you come in, this obviously isn't a scrimmage, but much like it allows you to retool, regroup. Season's not lost. You're in a position where the game is, but, for the Tigers. But it allows you, again, to improve and really retool some things going into prep as both of these. I think Lebanon's obviously hosting Zionsville and Pendleton's going on to Anderson. But some things to shore up on both sides of the ball.
Folden has to get rid of it. He pushes it ahead, and it looks like that might be an incomplete pass. And no, it's actually going to be caught that time. It's going to be taken here by Sam Kiker.
Got a little Patrick Mahomes there with a little scramble, little sidearm, as we'll see it on the replay.
They're going to call it incomplete. Looked like the original call was complete, but they decide to go the other way as we look at it here again. Yeah, little Patrick Mahomes, and that just punches the ground right there. But you're right, a little Patrick Mahomes-ish right there.
Yeah, and it's tough. I mean, you're rolling left and trying to throw right.
This might be the last gasp here for Lebanon. They still have one timeout remaining. Fulton again, looking over the middle, has his man. A big catch there, and that brings it all the way across and nearly fumbled.
A hit there.
Instead, it was going to be a hard hit there in the backfield. But the catch there by Jay Pollock for Lebanon gives them a first down. Clint Miller with the huge hit here. Quickly, though, we don't have time to look at the hit. Fulton over the middle, just through the hands of Sam Kiker.
Yeah, and certainly one that has to be caught there.
Maybe we'll get a look at the hit this time. So again, excellent read there by Fulton, and then you see Miller just stride for stride with him. Shoulder first.
Yeah.
So the clock stopped here at 2 minutes and 25 seconds. Second down here for Lebanon. Fulton over the middle, tipped up and nearly still caught, though, by Trey Reese. Yeah, but it's just out of his reach.
Very fortunate there, because typically when you have tip balls, about 75% of the time, these usually get picked. But couldn't quite make a play on the ball, and Lebanon's got 2 more downs to try to move these chains.
Third down and 10. We'll see who we got the tip on here. Looks like it would actually, he threw it off the back of the helmet of one of his linemen. It may have been Greg White who was on the receiving end of that one. Third down and 10. Fulton drops the ball, but still picks it back up, looking deep for his receiver, just out of the reach of Trey Reese.
Yeah, pretty good route, pretty good throw, just slightly overthrown, but certainly liked the call. But had great coverage there by the Arabians.
And again, that's after he dropped the snap. Fulton still keeping his composure. He certainly knows how to get the ball downfield. And now another fourth down here for Pendleton Heights on defense.
This could be the game here for Lebanon.
Lebanon has certainly extended this game here with how they've been throwing the ball. Fulton looking up. Can't avoid the rush that time. He is sacked in the backfield.
And Lebanon can only stop the clock one time, so at this point they can burn the clock out from a perspective of the play clock.
Dresden Roberts gets his first sack of the evening. And that's another turnover on downs here for Lebanon. And that should pretty much seal the deal here for Pendleton Heights. As again, as you mentioned, Lebanon still has one timeout remaining to try and stop. But other than that, if you're Lebanon, you just kill the clock and put this one away. And move to 1-0 on the season, ahead of a matchup on the road against Anderson. Here's Keaton Jones. And there's the timeout. So Lebanon will call their final timeout here of the evening. To just stop the clock here at precisely 2 minutes. Still some Lebanon faithful staying out here to support their team. And again, this was a scoreless effort in the first 2 quarters. Neither team really getting any good opportunities. Lots of defense was played, lots of turnovers. In fact, by my calculation here, there has not been a single turnover here, at least by Pendleton, at all here in this second half after they had 3 fumbles given away in the first half.
Yeah, and that's the things that you want, is making those adjustments in at halftime, shoring up on some of the mental breakdowns and the mistakes and certainly ball security. And they certainly have done that here, along with not only getting the one score early, but then the mishap on Lebanon's special teams, which set up the fumble recovery for their second score of tonight.
As I mentioned in the pregame, Lebanon has one of the oldest football teams in the state, with the lineage dating back to as far as 1893. But they only have 368 program wins, and tonight would be their 351st program loss in school program history. As they continue to keep the clock running here, it'll bring up 3rd down and short here for the Arabians. So the Pendleton Heights needs to get at least the first down here to put this one to bed. Pendleton Heights working on program win number 308 in school history. Frank gonna go on the keeper, and he gets tackled in the backfield. Maybe a mix-up there on the play call. So it'll bring up 4th down and 5 here with the final minute.
About 20-second differential if they don't get the first down.
So we'll see what Pendleton Heights decides to do here. If they can go for it and get the first down, that will seal the deal. The Arabians also still have a timeout at their disposal as well.
They may use their last timeout.
Look like, and then
they're
going to line up, so we'll see. They got to get the snap off, and they're going to take a delay of game here.
Penalty marker in the play.
So that'll stop the clock. And actually, that might have been on purpose, because now you get a fresh 25 with 18 left, and you don't give up the 4th down.
Still have to run the play with the clock stopped, but once the whistle's blown dead, Lebanon will probably have time for one play, unless, of course, Pendleton converts the 4th down.
So this could be the final play of the game here today, as Pendleton Heights going to move to 1-0 on the year, and off to a good start here as Frank takes the delayed handoff, gets it back to the 40-yard line, and that will do it. They'll have to stop the clock, though, off the turnover on downs, so Lebanon's going to get one final crack at it, maybe even 2, depending on how they go.
One more time, Arabian fans, let's hear it for this defense.
Certainly worthy of those accolades is the Arabians' defense. Again, an interception, forced fumble, 1 turnover on downs, and no points given up to this Lebanon offense.
So I was saying earlier, I mean, for the defensive coordinator to not only get all the turnovers they got tonight and have a shutout, might have to ask for pay raise.
Two minutes past the 10 o'clock hour here in Pendleton. Folden's going to go up the middle here. He'll get the first down.
Stop the clock. No.
And they're not going to stop the clock. Well, they have to stop the clock to move the chains. So that'll put 2.5 seconds left. Now they'll run the clock, and Lebanon's going to let it go. That'll do it. Well, it was a clunky start for both of these teams, but Pendleton Heights coming away with the season-opening win, 15-0. Your final score, they knock off the Lebanon Tigers here in Week 1. Craig Cox, pleasure working with you tonight, my friend.
Always, Kurt. Great job.
Ditto to you as well. Also, thank you as well to John Painter and staff here today for this NineStar TV crew. Final score once again, It is 15-0. Pendleton Heights knocking off Lebanon. I'm Kurt Darling saying so long till next time. You've been watching IHSAA football here on NineStar TV and the NineStar Now app.
For the ultimate Wi-Fi experience, you need a managed Wi-Fi service with advanced Blast Wi-Fi. Blast Wi-Fi systems provide ultimate coverage, ultimate performance, and ultimate power all the time. Available from Mulberry Telecommunications, Blast Wi-Fi systems feature the latest Wi-Fi 6 technology and are equipped with unrivaled bandwidth and 4 times more simultaneous connections so you can connect tons of devices throughout your home with no lag and no downtime. Plus, with 24/7 support and remote troubleshooting, you can rest assured that Mulberry Telecommunications is always here to help you should any issues arise. It's the ultimate Wi-Fi experience, and it's a blast. Blast Wi-Fi is now included with Mulberry Telecommunications fiber internet packages. Contact Mulberry Telecommunications at 296-2885 today to get started.
The ISC Sports Network is your home for sports content across the Hoosier State. Find us live on TV and streaming or archived on our website and our app. The ISC is your one-stop shop for the content you want to see, including high school sports, college sports, and other great events throughout the year. Subscribe to our streaming service and get access to it all. ISC, local lives here.
Brewer jams it home.
That ball wiggles in and into the back of the net.
A little fireworks in the first half.
Throw it up for Tillman.
Whoa, my goodness.
122.60 for Penn.
What a swim. Six of them.
Throw it up for Tillman.
Whoa, my goodness.
122.60 for Penn.
What a swim. Six of them.
Finding affordable quality reproductive health care isn't always easy. Did you know that there is now a family planning and reproductive health clinic in our area that is income-based? Services include Pap tests, breast cancer screenings, pregnancy tests, sexually transmitted infection and HIV testing, same-day birth control placement, filled prescriptions, and free condoms. Services are on an income-based sliding scale. Visit 1234 Rossville Avenue or call 659-6063 for more information or to schedule an appointment.
High school football fans, welcome back to Friday nights, to pure spirits, to pure sports. Welcome back to high school football.
Fans, I'm IHSAA Commissioner Paul Knighty, and I just want to say, welcome back!
This is Friday night. This is Indiana high school football. This is your IHSAA.
The drive, the take, fouled, and it goes!
Lobbing it to the back of the end zone. They're going to say it's a touchdown.
Left foot gets through. Goal for Vargas. Hamilton will score.
Stay at the minute with Sparkplug Athletic Department on X at Sparkplug Sports and the official page of Sparkplug Football at Sparkplug FB.